YouTube folks, it's your friendly spirit wolf, aka your girl Hazel, with an update video for you. Sorry I've not posted in a while. I thought I'd start you here and do a pan view and explain to you the reason why I have not been posting, and then eventually get into what I've done here. But as you can see, I'll give you a kind of pan view, and you can see I've started to organize this shop better. For one, I didn't think to upload a video on organizing the shop, because first I'd have to find a place to set you, and then I'd have to move you around, so that was kind of, as is. Someday, like I said, I will have a camera that I can pan view and do stuff like that, but I also was going to upload a video on that, if you guys remember that, but the camera on my phone did not want to upload it, so I guess we ain't doing that, eh? So I couldn't upload that, and I brought this in, which you didn't see, so there's that, eh? Yeah. And anyways, the other reason why I was preoccupied is because I've been busy with this and just didn't really have a way to film doing all this. And also I got a new game that I bought for the family's Nintendo Switch, because my mother ended up getting a Nintendo Switch for the family, which was nice of her because she really wanted it. And another family member of mine needed to help her out, and so she really wanted it because she had plans to use it as well. So, but she's been letting the family use it, and I got a game for the Switch, Farm Simulator 20, but let me tell you, it's fun for what it is, and if you absolutely want to try it out, go ahead, but I don't highly recommend it. Some people are saying it has better things than the other Farm Simulator, but I disagree. I mean, that's just my opinion. Opinions vary, but the game is just not. Like, the corn planter in the game is just garbage, because you miss more stalks than anything, and the physics of the game is just not there. But anyways, it's okay for what it is, and it's fun for now, but eventually I will get the PC version, but that's eventual down the road. So anyways, let's get into this now. As you can see, I've started organizing. It's still kind of cluttered. I've emptied the trash barrel. I've done some stuff. Pretty well organized right here with this project, which is that MTD that I haven't gotten to fully yet. I got a radio in here again finally. 2 radios out, but this one still don't like to run because of the batteries again. I will get power back in here at some point so I can plug it in. I had to disconnect power for my parents' renovation of the house because they wanted the house renovated. Anyways, that's a totally different bird. Here's the parts to the old red out there. Sorry for the quick flipping around. That red one. And then there's another mower that you saw earlier. 300 series Briggs. I was gonna rebuild for my boss, but I ended up finding the cylinder was quite worn, and it ended up being junk, so I saved it for parts because he didn't want it back after I had like $75 worth of parts in it, but whatever. At least it's parts. You win some, you lose some. I have a second one I'm going to build that hopefully the block is good that I can build, so I can build that I believe has similar symptoms. Use their valves, their piston rings, and I think it's piston rings, and it's an old Rally, so we'll be able to swap the parts from, because there's brand new rings in that 300 series engine and also brand new rings on the shelf, so between the two. Anyways, because there was further stuff, I think the cylinder was a little worn, and there was also further things prevent me from building that 300. But so that's main as the parts from it there. And finally put a wood stove in here that I'm going to be piping up above. Let's get that out of the way. Right in there, hold on. Right where those are hanging, those are going to get moved. And that's where the wood stove's got to go, is up in there. You can see the steering wheel to my truck is up there with the steering column, which is going to get moved as well. And some stuff up here is going to get moved. That's becoming a display hub. You'll see that later, because I'll do a video on that later. But going up into there is going to be my where the chimney goes, because I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it, but right there is a paint can, and I'm looking at it, but you can just barely see it because there you go. It's kind of faint in the background. My fingers point to it. But anyways, there's a old paint can that sat on the chimney, because when my grandfather was in the shop, before he was, the previous person who was in the shop, maybe two previous people ago, the guy who built this house, who was actually a family member, and then his son-in-law ended up inheriting it because his daughter ended up inheriting it, which went to the son-in-law, of course, because they were married. But he would have had a wood stove in here, and I'm guessing that the son-in-law would have still had a wood stove of some kind in here, probably to use. But it was taken out when the auction happened back in, I'm gonna say 93, because the son-in-law died in 92, who was also relation because he was married to the cousin of my grandmother's father. And so anyways, that would have all been taken out, probably, and sold in the auction. But this is a wood stove I got from a relative that they didn't want anymore, and like I said, I'm gonna pipe it into here instead of using a furnace that I had there that also came from this same relative relations. Anyways, and pipe it up into that. So I'm gonna have to move this wood stove over, but and overall it's not in that bad a shape. It's pretty rusty. I do plan on doing a restoration on this wood stove, so I may do some video updates on it, or hopefully at some point do some videos on me restoring it. But I do want to restore this wood stove because I think it would look nice, better restored, and I might as well just to preserve it. So, you know, my old adage that I've always said on the channel about restoring stuff preserves it. And then there's some other projects here just missed. See, there's MTD over there, and then there's Simplicity, which has been abandoned, kinda, and John Deere, which definitely got abandoned. Look to seeing a lot of this stuff done on the channel. A lot of these projects that have been abandoned, and let's go out to the backyard lot. This is another project that's going to get done. One Lunger model double Z Briggs needs a coil. I pulled the coil off, but the coil's junk. I determined that. Also, still gotta, I cleaned the carburetor, so that's good. I also still gotta clean the gas tank, which is pulled off and put right there, and then I gotta reassemble it. I got all the bits right there. I mean, this one isn't entirely bad, other than that coil has been fun to find. You can tell they put an aftermarket coil off of just what random they found on the internet, because it does not look like the factory coil, and I've been having a heck of a time to find that coil. But I will find that coil. And then, as far as this, before I leave the shop, this is all more of the MTD, like I told you earlier in the video, I believe. Sometimes I forget, but I found a coil that I'm going to try to work with this, because we determined this coil is most likely bad, because I cleaned the points and I adjusted the points, but I think it's down to this bad coil, so we'll just swap this coil out. We haven't gotten any further on the Kohler or that one, which may or may not be. And then under the bench, there's that one for a moto mower, and then that 8S Briggs. I believe I posted a video up. I'm pretty sure that that's running. Oh, and also I put this cabinet up for my oils and such. So that's an improvement to the shop. It's not fastened to the wall yet. It will be when in the future you'll see that coming on. I don't think I need to explain that right now. But otherwise, I got the forge cleaned out. This has got to get moved because it's kind of in the way. Let me bring you around to the back side and show you the back side. I also organized in here. Garden shed. You don't really need to see that. That's not of that interest right now until that point comes, if ever. Here we still stand still on the Ford. As you can see, I started organizing stuff here. There's more of the GT 18-42, the Murray. There's MTD deck. There's the second rototiller's body. That's just what it is. There's more of the Montgomery Wards. The snowblower that kind of got abandoned and will be back again once I get an engine to go in it. I got a special project for this, and I'll show you before I wrap up this video if I have time in the video. That snowblower, 2 mower decks, or the 3 mower decks. That is the Murray, that's the Wheel Horse, and the Montgomery Wards. And that bike is going to be repaired, but you won't see that on the... That's the bike I ride, so you won't see that featured because I'm going to take that to Old Spokes, get the parts. But I may or may not feature that, I should say. But anyways, this, again, special project. Bowen's is on the wayside for now. There's the engine over there for the Murray, the original one, but on the fence if I'm going to rebuild that or not. Once I either find a parts engine, maybe, but I don't know compression yet still in it, so there's that. And possibly I would like to find a running engine and get one V-twin or a flathead brakes for that project. There's the tires for the John Deere. You remember this old 300? I think you can see it just barely. I think you can. Hoping you can. Well, 300 brakes under there. There's that mower that belonged to my cousin's grandmother. Not this one, but the one over there, actually. Sorry, that one. But between the two we're making. This one came from my cousin who gave me that snowblower, that mower, and this tractor came from the same household. That was my uncle's, but we'll get to that. And this is the one I want to take parts from that 300 under there and under the on the pallet and build this. That's the shroud, spare shroud I had off of another one I had years ago. That was a 98 model, 3.75. That's junk, but the recoil's still good, so between that we'll try to make that work. Also, there's the Craftsman, which is on the wayside in the Simplicity. There's a snowblower for this beauty, and you've probably seen it. And there's the MTD, and then there's another one that was recently added that my cousin gave me. That was his dad's, that he stripped down years ago to make like a scraper blade tool out of, because the mower deck and engine was junk. But I brought it, and I'm going to build a homemade tractor out of that. You'll see with that Kohler engine. But here's the Wheel Horse in present state, which I believe I've done videos on this one. Yeah, this one is the diaphragm is what's holding us up on this, and I do want to eventually get new shoes for it, or tires, whatever you want to call them. I happen to call them shoes. Same difference in my opinion. This one seems to be holding okay, but this one, I may just end up getting inner tubes. After all, it is a garden tractor. See, my plan is to use this for snow blowing, and I'll show you what we got apart on this side. So we had to pull all this, and then under there is where I'm using that piece of scrap metal for weight, but under there is where the carburetor sits, and the muffler's pretty rotted out on this one too. Just made the trade not that long ago earlier this year for this trailer, which was my grandfather's, which was in the family till, but I traded my brand new trailer to my mother for it because she's executor of their estate, of course, being one of the siblings. Anyways, so I figured it would be better on both of us if I traded for a brand new red trailer for this one, so I could have this one. And I thought that worked out perfectly instead of giving cash, because this trailer had become mine, and not that I wouldn't let her use it, but I just thought that was a better deal, so they'd still have a trailer. And one of my uncles uses it too. But anyways, so that's that. That's pretty much it, YouTube folks, on what's going on around here on the homestead, per se, kinda. Oh, and over in this area, if I can get permission. There's a stump over there. Where is it? See that far over there? There's a marker. And then right down there is a stump. Right on that side of the stump all the way to that marker. I'll pan you there again. Just very faintly. I can see it better than you can. But that faint marker is where I want to put a garden in, up to a certain point coming up this way, and I'm going to mark it out today, I think. That's pretty much it, YouTube folks. Oh, and I'm ending up, before I leave, one more thing. I'm going to end up repairing the rims for my truck instead of buying new ones, because if you look right here, this will be a prime example. You can see they put rivets, so this rim can be deriveted. And I've been having a heck of a time lately on the Mac Restoration Parts website that I've been doing with. Not a sponsor in any means, by the way, but I do like their parts, even though they're a bit pricey. Trying to find that, so I figured I'd get some metal and recreate this part right here where it's riveted, and try to repair that by popping the rivet and getting it off. Because, like, especially on these rear ones, you could see where they did that, so I want to try to repair them instead of replace them, because I think it's going to be, for one, cheaper, because I had like calculated almost $1,500 in tires, inner tubes, and the band that goes around the rim to protect the inner tube. You know, about $1,500 for 6. So you times 6 by, or so 6 plus 6 is 12, because I'd like to do, because I have enough to make 2 sets